Hare Krishna,
Krishna Hare Ram Ram Ram
Hare
Hare
Hare Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna Hare Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Ram
Hare Hare
Hare Krishna,
Ram 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 Hare Hare
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Ram
Krishna
Ram
Hare
Ram
Hare Hare Ram Hare
Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Ram
Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Hare
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 Ram,
Krishna
Hare Krishna,
Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Ram
Hare
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 Krishna,
Ram
Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Hare Hare
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Ram
Hare Krishna,
Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Hare
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 Ram,
Hare
Ram
Ram
Ram,
Hare Ram Ram
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare
Hare
Ram,
Krishna
Ram
Krishna Hare
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 Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Hare Ram
Krishna Hare Ram,
Hare
Ram
Krishna
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Ram
Krishna
Ram
Krishna,
Ram Hare
Krishna
Hare
Hare Ram,
Hare
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 Krishna
Krishna, Hare
Krishna
Krishna, Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Hare
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 Ram,
Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Krishna Krishna Hare
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 Krishna, Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Ram
Hare
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 Ram,
Ram Hare Ram Ram
Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Hare
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 Krishna, Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna Hare
Ram,
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Hare
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 Krishna,
Ram
Hare
Hare Ram 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 Hare
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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram,
Jai
Ram
Shri
Ram,
Krishna
Hare
Chaitanya
Krishna,
Prabhu
Krishna Hare
Nityananda
Ram,
Shri Advaita
Hare
Gadadhar
Krishna,
Sivasadi
Krishna Hare Ram,
Ram
Jai Shri Krishna,
Jai Hare
Krishna
Krishna Mahamantra ki Jai
Jai,
Srila Prabhupada ki Jai
Jai.
Krishna Ram
Hare Krishna
Ram Ram
Kirtan party ki Jai
Krishna Krishna
Jai. Hare Krishna, Prabhu Nandasana.
Hare Krishna Sayyid Anat Namavu Srila Prabhupada
Prabhu Shri Hare Shivas Gaur Bhaktivinoda
little devotee is playing Karsal today. Wonderful.
almost Tatkal Bhaktivinoda.
Namayam
I'm going to play now.
Krishnavadaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine
Om Vishnu Padaya
Krishna
Pristaya Bhutale
Srimati
Namaste Bhaktivedanta
Swami
Namine Saraswati
Gauravani Acharya Krishna Prabhu Nityananda Krishna Hare Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna
Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna,
Krishna
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 Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare Hare
Rama,
Rama
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama
Rama
Rama Rama
Hare
Hare Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare
Krishna, 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 Hare Rama, Rama Rama,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna,
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 Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Rama, Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Rama,
Hare
Hare Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna Krishna,
Hare Hare, Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare Rama,
Rama Rama, Hare
Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Rama,
Hare Rama,
Rama
Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Hare, Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare.
Krishna Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Hare Bol. Yeah. Kirtan party ki jai. Thank you very much, Mataji. All the Matajis and Prabhujis. Thank you very much. Wonderful Kirtan. Haribol. Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dandavat from all. Prabhupada, please accept my.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Very Prabhupada.
Hare
Krishna Prabhu,
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you.
Jai Thakur. Very nice Kirtan, Prabhuji's, Mataji's, as always. Very wonderful Kirtan.
Thank you, Prabhu.
All right, Prabhuji. So maybe we should get started with the recap, perhaps. It was really quick. It was just a very short. Well, we had just covered the first two verses, so maybe we can just do a quick recap and then we'll jump right in.
Anyone wants to volunteer? Vatsala Mataji, Saujanya Mataji, Ram Shyam Prabhu. If you are on mute, please unmute yourself.
Okay. Prabhu, what I gathered from last meeting was that we are doing the Karma Yoga and we discussed that everybody must act. So according to our action, we are going to reap the benefits, either good or bad. So while we are acting, if we focus our actions toward Krishna, then I think the karma part of it is nullified. So we don't have to worry. We can easily get the knowledge of Krishna. We can get easily liberated. So that's what I understood in a nutshell.
Madhuri, that was that in a nutshell exactly what the concept of karma was. So thank you so much for sharing that with all of us, Madhuri.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Haribol. Anybody else has other thoughts to add to it?
So basically, Arjuna is asking, if you think intelligence is better than fruitive work, right? So that's the base question for all our discussion. So why are you still engaging me in this ghastly warfare? So it is quite little contradictory statement what Krishna is teaching here, because intelligence is better than work. The fighting is a work. So why are you engaging in this fighting? So that is a base for all our discussion. So that's a main point.
Thank you, President Prabhu. Yes, that's exactly the thing. And because, like you said, what Arjun's point is that Krishna, if buddhi or intelligence or acting in Krishna conscious or Krishna consciousness is better than engaging in fruitive work, then why are you telling me to perform this action? So therein lies an assumption that Arjun is making. Arjun is assuming that fighting is fruitive activity. And that is the distinction now that Krishna is going to make for him. Arjun thinks that by fighting, it's basically fruitive activity. And why does he think that it's fruitive activity? We will discuss that in the discussion. So that's the background. Thank you so much, Muktasana Prabhu. Anybody else wants to add a more thought to it? Okay, if not, then we'll start with the reading of the verses. So today, chapter 3, verse 3 onwards. So maybe we'll read 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah, sure, Prabhu. So who wants to go first? Brinda has raised her hand. So Brinda, go ahead. Chapter 3, verse 3.
Hare Krishna. Shri Bhagavanuvacha
Sri Bhagavan
Bhagavan
Vacha.
Uvacha
Lokesmi dvivida nashta
Lokesmin
Loke
Dvividanishta
Anishta
Pura Prokta Maya Naga
Pura
Pura
Prokta
Prokta
Maya Naga
Jnana Yogena Sankyanam
Jnana
Jnana Yogena
Yogena
Sankhyanam
Karma Yogena Yoginam.
Karma
Karma
Yogena
Yogena
Yogena.
Yoginam.
Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O sinless Arjuna, I have already explained that there are two classes of men who try to realize the self. Some are inclined to understand it by empirical philosophical speculation and others by devotional service. Hare.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Brother Devi. Well, Mukunda Prabhu or Kanchan Mataji?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, can I say?
Yes, go ahead. If anybody wants to recite the words, you can raise your hand in the chat window. That will be good.
Na karma namararambhan,
Ramaramban,
naishkarmyam purushnosmute,
Naishkarmyam
Karmayam Purushosmate.
Purushosmrute
na cha sanyasana deva, na cha
Nacha
Deva,
Sanyasana
siddhim samadhigacchati, siddhim
Siddhim Samadhigacchati.
Atma merely abstaining from work can one achieve freedom from reaction, not by renunciation alone can one attain perfection. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol. Arjuna Mataji is there?
Prabhuji, she's not here today. I'm outside, Prabhuji.
Oh, okay. Okay. So Kanchan Mataji or Mukunda Prabhu? Okay. Narsimha Prabhu?
Yeah, Kanchan can read.
Yes.
Nahi kaschit kshanam api
Nahi kaschit
Chanam
api
api
jatu tishtati akarmakrit
Jatu
Jatu
Tishtati
tishtati akarmakrit
Karmakrit
karyate hi avasha karma
Karate Yavasya
Krishna Karma
sarva prakritir prakriti jair gunai.
Sarva
Sarva Prakriti
prakriti jaya
Jai
gunai.
Gunai.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Yeah.
Everyone is forced to act helplessly according to the qualities he has acquired from the modes of material nature. Therefore, no one can refrain from doing something, not even for a moment. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Anybody wants to repeat verse 3?
Kanchan.
Yes. Go ahead, Prabhu.
Verse 3, Prabhuji.
Verse 3.
Okay.
We are doing verse 3, 4, and 5 today.
Yes.
Good.
Shri Bhagavan Vacha
Sri Bhagavan
Vacha
Lokesmin Dvividanishta
Lokesmin Vividhanishta
Pura Prokta Maya Nadha
Pura Prokta
Pura
Maya
Anaga
Jnana Yogena Sankyanam
Jnana
Jnana
Yogena
Yogena
Sankhyanam
Sankhyanam
Karma Yogena Yoginam.
Karma
Yogena
Yogena
Yoginam.
Translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O sinless Arjuna, I have already explained that there are two classes of men who try to realize the self. Some are inclined to understand it by empirical philosophical speculation, and others by devotional. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Hare
Matu.
Bol.
Hari Bol. Anybody else wants to go? Tyaga Prabhu?
Hare Krishna ji.
Hare Krishna.
Driving ji.
Oh, you're driving.
Krishna
Okay.
ji.
Oh, oh.
Driving.
Yeah, no problem. Anybody else? Volunteers? Ramshyam Prabhu, you are highlighted, so you can recite.
Yeah, Prabhuji, I will go for verse number 4.
For getting highlighted.
Na karmanam akarma anarambha
Karmanam
niskarmyam puruso asnute
Naishkarmyam Purushosmrute
nacha sanyasada eva
Sanyasanadeva
siddhim samadhi gacchati.
Siddhim
Samadhi
Samadhi
Gacchati.
Gacchati.
And the translation by His Divine Grace Abhay Channa Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Not by merely abstaining from work can one achieve freedom from reaction, nor by renunciation alone can one attain perfection. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu.
One more.
Priya Mataji, can you read? Chapter 3, text 5.
Yes, Prabhu. Just give me a minute. I'll just open the chapter 3, text 5. Okay.
Yes.
Just 1 minute, Prabhu. Chapter 3, text 5. Nahi kashit shanam api
Nahi kasyanamapi
jatu tishtati akarma krit
jatu tishtati akarma
karyate hi avasha karma
karyate avasya karma
sarva prakriti jair gunai
sarva prakriti gunai.
Translation, should I read, Prabhu?
Yes, Mataji, go ahead, please.
Okay. Everyone is forced to act helplessly according to the qualities he has acquired from the modes of material nature. Therefore, no one can refrain from doing something, not even for a moment.
Thank you, Mataji.
But
Anyone wants to volunteer, or we'll go to the explanation?
You can do, Prabhuji.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu. So text is chapter 3, text 3. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha
Sri Bhagavan Uvacha
Lokesmin Dvidanishta
Lokesmin Dvidanistha
Pura Prokta Maya Nagha
Pura Prokta Maya Nagha
Jnana Yogena Sankyanam
Jnana Yogena Sankyanam
Karma Yogena Yoginam.
Karma Yogena Yoginam.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O sinless Arjuna, I have already explained that there are two classes of men who try to realize the self. Some are inclined to understand it by empirical philosophical speculation, and others by devotional service.
Hare Krishna. All right. So I think we will start with the discussion then, unless there's somebody else, anybody else.
That's all.
Okay. Om Ajnanatimindasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Ummilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadhati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapadagamanam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunath Anvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radhikanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatrubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhakta Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna Krishna
Krishna,
Hare
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 Hare,
Hare
Hare
Rama
Rama, Hare Rama,
Rama 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 Hare
Hare.
Hare.
So Sri Bhagavanu Vacha Loke Asmin Vividha Nishtha Pura Prokta Mayanaga Jnana Yogena Sankhyanam Karma Yogena Yoginam. And then in 4, Krishna says, Na Karmanama Narambham Nishkarmayam Purushoshnate Nacha Sanyasana Deva Siddhim Samadhi Gacchati. So you'll notice how again at the end of text 4 the word samadhi is coming. And we had studied in chapter 2 that that pertains to complete control of the mind and the senses. So in text 3, coming back to text 3, Shri Bhagavan Vacha, Supreme Lord said, Loke asmin dvividha nishtha. So he says, in this word, Loke, dvividha nishtha. The important word here is nishtha. Nishtha, as Prabhupada translates it here, means faith. Faith. So Krishna says there are two types of people depending on their kind of faith, depending on what kind of faith they have. So he says dvividha nishtha. And then he says that these two types, in the third line, he says, Jnana Yogena Sankhyanam, Karma Yogena Yoginam. So these are the two types. The Jnani who is focused on Jnana Yoga, they are also called engaging in Sankhya Yoga. So the Jnanis are engaging in Sankhya Yoga. That's one type, depending on their Nishtha. And the second type, Krishna says, Karma Yogena. Other is one who is focused on Karma Yoga, and Krishna refers to them as Yoginam or devotee. So the first type is the Jnani, the second type is the Yogi. The Jnani is engaged in Sankhya Yoga, the devotee is engaged in Karma Yoga. So these are the two categories, and we will now analyze this or study this to try to understand these two categories a little bit better. Now, let's keep in mind, Krishna is actually answering Arjun's questions. Arjun's question was, Krishna, you have said that Buddhi Yoga, acting in devotional service, is better than fruitive activity. So why are you engaging me in this fruitive activity of fighting? And now Krishna will explain that, Arjun, I am not engaging you in fruitive activity. I am actually engaging you in devotional activity. There is a world of a difference, night and day difference between fruitive activity and devotional activity. Both are activities, but one is fruitive, it will have reaction, and the other is devotional service, which will actually please Krishna. So there is a complete difference between the two, day and night, complete opposites. And Arjun is thinking action, such as fighting a war. How can that be devotional service? He's saying that must be fruitive activity, because the result of that is, the result of fighting is either I win and I'll enjoy this kingdom, or if I lose, I will get killed and somebody else will enjoy the kingdom. Now, Arjun is saying this from his perspective, and Prabhupada describes in the purport that the perspective is based on sense gratification, gratifying his own senses. Arjun is saying from the perspective of his own senses. What is Arjun's perspective? Oh, if I kill them, then these are my near and dear ones, my respected teachers, my relatives. I'll be very sad. That is from the perspective of his senses, his thinking. And also he's saying, if I win, never mind who dies. If I win, then I inherit this kingdom and I can enjoy. So again, both of these considerations are based on sense enjoyment. That's what Prabhupada is describing. And that is what Krishna is going to clarify for Arjuna. As we know, Krishna says to Arjuna, in all of chapter 2, Krishna has described so much in detail. So much detail he has shown, he has given to Arjuna about what is the nature of the soul, what is the nature of the body, and so on. And in fact, first 20 verses of chapter 2 were related to Gyan. And then this next like 10, 8 or 9 verses were related to karma kand, acting for fruitive results. And finally, Krishna came to the platform, to verses 239 to 53, where he explained to Arjuna about Buddhi Yoga, of Krishna consciousness. So now, in text 3, Krishna says, Arjuna, there are two types of people, Gyan Yogi and Sankhya, and Karma Yogi. Now, what is the Gyan Yogi? What is the Gyani or the Gyan Yogi or the Sankhya Yogi? What is that person trying to understand? So in the purport, Prabhupada says, they get into, Sankhya means analysis. So they get into analytical study of the Shastra. And Krishna says, Arjuna, I've already explained to you that from an analytical perspective, what is the nature of the soul? You are thinking that you'll be killing your relatives, but if you realize that the soul can never be slain, it is just the body that is changing, then you will realize that nobody's actually getting killed. Just the dresses are changing. So that is Sankhya, analysis. And in that analysis, Krishna says that when a person is on the platform of analysis, they want to analyze everything, they want to understand everything with their mind, then they basically think about philosophy as the result or something that can be understood nicely by analysis and also by experiment. Also by experiment, you have to have some proof. Just like in science, we do experiments and we come up with proof. So same way the philosophers, the Jnani, they want proof for everything. That is the nature of Sankhya. And so Krishna says some are inclined to understand it by empirical, philosophical speculation. Empirical, where is the evidence? Show me the evidence. What is the experiment? What did the result of the experiment prove or disprove? That is Sankhya, that is analysis. And Krishna explains to Arjun that as far as analyzing the soul is concerned, you can't even see it. How will you analyze it? But I am explaining to you because I am the creator of the souls. Because I am the creator of the soul, I can explain to you. So therefore, in chapter 2, Krishna says, I have explained to you about the soul can never be burnt, can be cut, cannot be destroyed, cannot be killed, cannot be dried by wind, cannot be wetted by water, nothing. Nothing. That is the nature of the soul. So Krishna gave this analysis and Gyan and Sankhya to Arjuna. And then he also says that in addition, but separate from that, are people who are karma yogis or yogi. Bhakti yogi, karma yogi, same thing. Who are performing actions for the pleasure of the Lord. So whether they understand the nature of the soul or not, they understand this much, that everything is created by the Supreme Lord, and therefore I should be engaged in using everything that I see in the service of the Lord. So that becomes one key difference between the Nishtha, Dvividha Nishtha, two types of Nishtha, two types of faith. So what the Jnani wants to do is, after they analyze and understand everything, then some jnanis, if they are fortunate, after all this analysis and understanding, they may come to the platform of accepting that, okay, God has created the soul, such is the nature of the soul, this is the nature of the body, this is the nature of the material elements. They have done their analysis, they've done their research, they've done their speculation, they've done whatever experiment they can do. And finally they say, okay, it seems that everything is coming from God. So if they're fortunate, they come to the platform of wanting to act in Krishna consciousness or the platform of Karma Yoga. Whereas the Karma Yogi or the Buddhi Yogi, Krishna says they directly take to the process of doing everything for the pleasure of the Lord. They don't go through this whole cycle of speculation and this and that and all that. First they say, let me do everything for the pleasure of the Lord. Then as they perform activities in Karma Yoga, if they develop a better understanding of what the soul is, what the body is, how the creation takes place, so on and so forth, that's fine. But they jump to this direct process. Now, Arjun is thinking that these two processes are actually different tracks. Different tracks. One will take you in one direction, other will take you in another direction. And what was the direction that Arjun was thinking? Arjun was thinking, where will karma take me? Arjun was thinking, karma will take me to, go ahead, Mukta Sangha Prabhu.
Sinful.
Sinful. Exactly. He thought this particular karma fighting will lead to sinful result. And therefore, Arjun thought, well, it is better to take the path of renunciation. Better to take the path of renunciation. Step away from this fighting, because Krishna, you are saying Buddhi Yoga, so I will sit down in a secluded place and I will meditate and I will chant and I will not perform this activity. So Arjun is thinking that if he is in Buddhi Yoga, he will not have to act and there will be no sinful reaction. But if he acts, there will be sinful reaction. So in text 4, Krishna says, no, Arjun, that's not the case. That is not the case. Why? So in the translation, Prabhupada says, not by merely abstaining from work can one achieve freedom from reaction. He says, just because you think that you'll just go sit down and not perform this act of warfare, that you will be freed from sinful reaction. Krishna says, no, that is a wrong understanding. And then he also goes on to say that nor by renunciation alone can one attain perfection. So Krishna is giving two very powerful reasons to Arjun for not abstaining from work. He says, Arjun, what you think is renunciation, this type of renunciation, firstly, it will not give you freedom from reaction. You are most worried about sinful reaction from fighting, but I can tell you that if you don't fight, you will still not be free from sinful reaction, number one. And number two, simply by not fighting and saying that I've become renounced, you will not attain perfection. So why is Krishna saying all this? Why, or what is the reason that merely by abstaining from work one cannot attain freedom from reaction? Were you going to say something, Sangha Prabhu?
Yeah,
No.
because being Arjuna, Arjuna is the Kshatriya, and for the Kshatriya, I mean, fighting is by the given by the birth and quality. So performing his own dharma, it is the dharma, that is the religion for the Kshatriya. So that's what Krishna is saying, that is your dharma to do that. So if you do your dharma, fighting, and that is the sacrifice, and that will be the result will be given to the Krishna, I mean to the God. So that's the intention there.
Right. Exactly. So he says, and actually, as we go further from text 5 through 9, Krishna will actually explain more and more detail about the intricacies of action, and the active nature of the soul, etc. And so why not acting is actually not an option. You will always keep acting. So in other words, Krishna is saying that, Arjun, even if you don't fight and you just think that you can go and sit in some place and meditate, what's going to happen is your mind is not purified. And if you think you will sit down, meditate, your mind will not let you meditate. Your mind will trouble you. Your mind will feel uncomfortable. Your body will feel uncomfortable. You will start wanting to come back to your palace and this and that. You will not be able to succeed in renunciation. And in the purport, Prabhupada explains, premature renunciation will not lead to any benefit. Premature. Premature meaning if there's mature and there's premature. Mature renunciation means that when one's mind is purified, when one's mind is completely free from material attachment, when one's mind is convinced that I have to dedicate all my actions to serving the Lord, that is mature. And premature means somebody thinks, oh, I'll just not perform this activity and then I'll be renounced. Like Arjun was saying here, and Krishna says that's not the case. It is not about acting and not acting. It is about your state of mind. It is about your state of mind. And in Kali Yuga, proper samadhi, as we discussed in chapter 2, is attained not by sitting in one place for 60,000 years and meditating, but instead by acting for the pleasure of the Lord. So action is being recommended here by Krishna. It's being emphasized by Krishna. Action, 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 action. And Arjuna is thinking this war will be very bad for me. I will incur sinful reaction. Krishna is saying no. So this is particularly important for us because we are all in the Grahast ashram, all of us here. And for us, we are performing activities, we are acting, we are earning a living. So what mentality we need to have in order to perform our action, what mentality we need to have while earning money, what do we do with it, so on and so forth, so that we don't incur sinful reaction. This chapter is going to explain all that to us. So coming back to this concept that Arjun had in his mind, that Gyan and karma are two separate paths leading to two separate destinations. That was a flaw in his thinking. And what Krishna is explaining here is that dvi nishtha, that there are two types, that there are loke asmin dvi vidha nishtha, that there are two types of faith. Now when he's saying there are two types of faith, pura prokta mayanaga. Pura prokta meaning formally I have explained this to you. And then he says, Jnana yogena sankyanam karma yogena yoginam. Now see how both of these paths, Krishna is describing them as yoga. One is Jnana yoga, other is karma yoga. But both are yoga. This is where Krishna is pointing out Arjun's flaw, Arjun's fault in thinking. Krishna is calling them both yoga. What does that mean? Yoga means process for linking with the Supreme. So Krishna is, in other words, saying both paths are actually enabling you to come to me. Both paths are yoga. They are processes for connecting to me. They are processes for linking to me. They are not going to lead to two separate results. Arjuna is thinking karma will lead to sinful reaction. Gyan yoga or buddhi yoga will lead to good result, devotional service. And Krishna is saying, no, Both of these are yoga. Both of these are processes for connecting with me. So that's a very key thing. So then what is the difference between the two? If both of these are going to lead us to Krishna, then what is the difference between the two? So that can create little confusion in our mind. And certainly Arjun is representing our confusion. So what is the difference between the two while the two are still connected because they are both yoga? Let's explain that. Let's try to understand that with the help of a diagram. So Muksanga Prabhu, can I
Yes, Prabhu.
show diagram? What do I do? Share screen, right?
Yes, you can share screen now, Prabhu.
Okay. Okay. So can you see the screen?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. And can you see this little diagram here for Sankhya Yoga and Karma Yoga?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. So here now we are going to see both are connected because they are both yogas. They are both processes for connecting with the Supreme. They are not leading to two separate paths. That is the connection. But what is the difference? The difference is both of them are on two separate platforms. So basically, these are two steps of a ladder. Sankhya is the first step, Karma Yoga is the second step. These are two steps of the yoga ladder. Yoga ladder is a process by which we can gradually elevate our consciousness to complete Krishna consciousness. So a ladder, if you think about what does a ladder do, it takes you from the ground level to a higher level. In the process of yoga, what is the highest destination that we are aspiring to?
Go back to Krishna.
Go back to Krishna, exactly. So in order to go back to Krishna, we have to climb this ladder, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because right now we are in the material consciousness, and in order to go back to Krishna, we have to slowly elevate our consciousness. So here, this is called the yoga ladder. Yoga means the process for linking with the Supreme. So if you think about it, let's say in your house, you're climbing the staircase. You're going from the ground level up to your first level. And there are maybe 16, 18 steps along the way. And you're taking one step, second, third, fourth, and gradually you reach the higher level. So same way, from our material consciousness, which is the lowest step, if we keep climbing up the ladder of yoga, we reach this final stage of being completely Krishna conscious. And the Sankhya Yoga and Karma Yoga, they are both connected because they are both taking us to Krishna, but they are at two different levels. So Dvividha, Nishtha, two types of faith. Sankhya Yoga, in Sankhya Yoga, a person is focused on analyzing, there is a lot of analysis, speculation, experimental evidence, philosophy, and then if the senses are finally purified, one is elevated to the platform of Karma Yoga or Buddhi Yoga. But on the platform of Karma Yoga, the person controls his or her senses, as we had studied in chapter 2, text 61. The person depends on Krishna, and this process itself purifies. See, when you follow the process of devotional service, the process itself purifies you. For example, chanting, for example, hearing, worshipping, that process itself purifies you. But in Sankhya, you have to first become purified before you can come to the level of Karma Yoga. So Karma Yoga, or acting in Krishna consciousness, is higher than Sankhya Yoga. but the two are both connected. Sankhya will lead to karma, but the difference is karma yoga is actually higher than Sankhya yoga. So that's why Krishna tells Arjun, now, if you fight, and you fight because I want you to fight, if you fight in devotional service, if you fight for my pleasure, then you're acting in karma yoga. You are already at a higher platform than you would have been on the platform of Sankhya yoga. And Krishna will now, as we go through this, he will give more and more and more substance, reasoning, logic, and explanation for why the platform of karma yoga is very important, because Krishna will explain. And he said, in text 5, we are not going to discuss text 5 today, but at least we read it. And what was the translation? Somebody, if you want to read translation. Anybody?
Yes. Prabhu, I can do it.
Yes, go ahead, man.
Everyone is forced to act helplessly according to the qualities he has acquired from the modes of material nature. Therefore, no one can refrain from doing something, not even for a moment.
There you go. Everyone is forced to act helplessly. So action is a given. We are all acting all the time. Some action is going on. Even if we are sitting, the mind is active. Mind is thinking, mind is planning, mind is wishing. You see, so that is all activity. It is activity of the mind, but it is all activity. And that activity takes place because we are spirit souls. And the nature of the soul is to always be active. So Krishna so Krishna here is very convincingly helping Arjun understand that not acting is actually not an option. You have to act. So now the question becomes how to act and how not to act. And Krishna is saying you must act in Krishna consciousness, must act for my pleasure, must act in karma yoga, must act in buddhi yoga. When you do that, that process itself will purify your mind. Your senses will get purified. Senses will say, no, I don't want to. But if you follow the processes of devotional service, if you follow the regulative principles, they will help your senses come under control. They'll help purify your senses. So these are, so anyway, 5 onwards, we will discuss later. But up until this point, the key thing to understand is that there is no difference between the ultimate goal of Sankhya Yoga and Karma Yoga. Yoga leads you to Krishna. One level, karma is higher than Sankhya Yoga. Process of Karma Yoga was being recommended to Arjun. And Krishna said, I have already explained the analytical process to you, Arjun, in chapter 2. And actually, we see in chapter 2, text 39, 239 had a lot of explanation on Sankhya. And then Krishna says that in text 39, 239, Krishna said to Arjun that I've already explained to you Sankhya. Now I will explain to you the terms of working without fruitive results. O son of Pratha, when you act in such knowledge, you can free yourself from the bondage of work. So 239, Krishna says, when you act in karma yoga to please me, you can free yourself from the bondage of work. And connect that with what we just read in text 5, where Krishna says everyone is forced to act helplessly according to qualities he has acquired from the mode of material nature. And also text 4, he says, not by merely abstaining from work can one achieve freedom, nor from reaction, nor by renunciation alone can one attain perfection. So by renunciation alone, you cannot attain perfection. Renunciation means it's a gradual process. Renunciation happens gradually. the mind gradually gets detached from, renounced from what? Renounced from material objects, renounced from the desire for sense gratification. But it's a gradual process. That renunciation doesn't happen abruptly. So Krishna says, that's why, Arjun, you cannot just abruptly leave the battlefield and say, I'm going to become a sannyasi tomorrow. I'm going to give up everything. I'll be in the renounced order and I will do it tomorrow. Done. It says, because that you will not succeed. You have to go through the gradual process of cleansing your mind. And of course, Arjun was a pure devotee of the Lord. His mind was not contaminated. He was expressing these doubts for our benefit. He was just put into that position so that we can understand this better. But for us, the lesson is we cannot immediately consider ourselves renounced. It is a gradual process. And the process for us is process of karma yoga, where we can continue to act, but with a desire to please the Supreme Lord. So, okay, let me stop here and let's take questions and comments and so forth. I'm going to stop sharing the screen unless somebody wants to refer to it.
Very nice. So I know eventually we will be talking more details about Buddhi Yoga and then the Karma Yoga. So even like, if I want to ask like Arjuna, so intelligence is always better because Krishna's favorite is Gyanis. You know, Gnanis are very close to Krishna and he likes Gnanis very compared to all other. So Gnanis means basically those people who are very intelligent, right? So that means
Right.
So this comes in the mid of Bhagavad Gita actually. Somewhere he says that Gnanis, I like Gnanis very, very much, right?
That's of those 4 types who come to him.
Yes. So here, if you consider that, then still like Arjuna getting confused, I'm confused also a little bit, but he's very close to Krishna and he likes Gnanis. He likes people who are very intelligent. At the same time, he says, you're a Kshatriya, your job is to fight. So Arjuna could have become a wonderful Jnani, actually. So then Krishna would have liked him better. So still he's imposing Arjuna, you fight because you're a Kshatriya. Right? So we all wanted to elevate, right, from one ashram to other ashram, one karma to other karma, right? So Srila Prabhupada always wanted that everyone would become a Brahmana in our
right.
So Brahmana means he's not a Kshatriya. You know, he's like the most intelligent person who leads the society in the right direction. Okay.
Yeah.
So we want to become Jnani here. We don't want to become a Karma Yogi. So how do you interpret that? But we all work. That's also called as devotional service. We give all the results to Krishna, or we use our results in spreading Krishna consciousness, or whatever it is. So we are still called as Karma Yogis, but Jnana is better. So why can't we elevate ourselves to Jnana Yogi? All my question is.
That's a good question, Prabhu. And so you see the context where Krishna says that he likes the Jnani. This in the context of that Chaturvida Bhajante Mam. And so in that, Jnana Sukritino Arjuna, Artho Jigyasur Atharthai, Jnani Cha Bharatarshava. So he says, compared to a person who's of the 4 types of people who come to Krishna, one who's in distress, one who is trying to get wealth, one who is inquisitive, and the other who is in knowledge. So of these 4, the one who is in knowledge, or the Jnani, Krishna says that is the best. A person who's coming to me not to ask me, oh, Krishna, I am in distress, please help me. Okay, that's a pious thing. Krishna appreciates it. Or Krishna, please give me wealth. I really need wealth. Krishna says, okay. But the Jnani comes to him not for wealth, not for anything, but through the understanding that actually Krishna is the Supreme Lord, and therefore he comes to Krishna. So that's why Krishna says Jnani is very dear to me. Right, Mukta Sangha Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu.
So the process of Sankhya Yoga, though, in the process of Sankhya Yoga, it eventually leads to Gyan. It eventually leads to Gyan. But when it leads to Gyan, when it culminates in Gyan, Gyan of what? That Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When it culminates in Gyan, then what does the Jnani do? Then the Jnani engages in devotional service, in Karma Yoga, Buddhi Yoga. So Krishna saying the Jnani is very dear to me is actually non-different than Krishna saying that the Buddhi Yoga or the devotee is very dear to me, because the Jnani eventually comes to this Buddhi Yoga platform. That's why if you look at the ladder, the Jnani goes up to the level of Karma Yogi or Buddhi Yoga. Otherwise, if he doesn't come, if the Jnani doesn't reach that level, then he'll stay stuck in analysis and speculation and experimenting in philosophy only. Then he'll stay stuck at the level of Sankhya. He's trying to understand Krishna, so he's called Sankhya Yoga. But the culmination of Sankhya Yoga is in Gyan. And when a person attains the platform of Gyan, he engages in Karma Yoga. Does that clarify your question, Mukta?
Yes, Prabhu. So if I understand that, so eventually even the Jnani is also a Karma Yogi.
He comes to the platform, he becomes a Karma Yogi.
So it's not that Karma Yogi will become Jnana Yogi, right? The other way around, right?
Well, okay, there is a slight connection between the two. Actually, a very deep connection. The Karma Yogi is actually taking to the direct process of Krishna consciousness. Directly he's saying, okay, I'm going to do everything to please Krishna. He may or may not have enough Gyan, but he's got the final Gyan, which is I should do everything for Krishna because Krishna is the Supreme Lord. Jnani comes to the platform of Gyan, meaning that Krishna is the Supreme Lord, through a process of analyzing and speculating, and he's not convinced. He's not convinced that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. But when he becomes convinced, then he becomes a true Jnani, and then he engages in Karma Yoga. Then he starts performing all his activities for the pleasure of Krishna. So the definition of Gyan is Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God, knowing that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God.
So that Karma Yoga is not actually what we are right now. Like I'm going to office, that Karma Yoga is exclusively Bhakti Yoga, devotional service.
Correct. What we are doing is mixed karma.
Karma Mishra.
Karma Mishra. Ours is mixed because we are not on the purified platform. We are trying to get there. But you see, the key thing to remember is that the karma may not change. You may still go to office. You still take care of family, relatives, everything. But the consciousness is pure. Consciousness is convinced that Krishna is Supreme Personality God. And why I say that is, think about this. Who is Bhagavad Gita being spoken to? Who is Krishna giving Bhagavad Gita to? Who is he speaking it to?
Karma Yogi, Kshatriya, Arjuna.
Kshatriya, family man.
Yes.
Arjun had 4 wives, family man. And Krishna is telling Arjun, by giving you this Gyan, I don't want you to leave family life. I want you to stay in family life. You see, Krishna didn't speak Bhagavad Gita to Narad Muni, who was a brahmachari. Krishna could have, but he spoke it to Arjun. Bhaktoshi me, priyoshi me. He said, I'm giving you this knowledge because you are my devotee and you are very dear to me. You're a householder, no problem. You stay in householder life. So that's the lesson for us. We are householders. We stay in householder life. But perform all our activities for the pleasure of Krishna. So it's purification of consciousness. That's why Prabhupada says Krishna consciousness. It's all about your consciousness. It's not about Krishna action or Krishna thinking only. No, it's consciousness. Your entire consciousness is pervaded by Krishna.
Yes,
Does
Prabhu.
that help?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Nicely you explained, Prabhuji. So just I was trying to understand, like as Mukta Sangha Prabhu was asking.
Yes, Prabhu.
So in that regard, I mean, the Karma Yoga you were talking about, that is related to the Niskam Karma Yoga, because there will be Sakam Karma Yoga and Niskam Karma Yoga. So
yes,
right.
Nishkam.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, fine, project. That is.
I don't want to jump. Yeah, I didn't want to jump too far ahead, but you in any case are aware. So so to use the terminology that you have said, yes, this is Nishkam Karma Yoga is what is being referred to. Because otherwise, Sakam, you still have many material desires and so forth, but Nishkam is the highest stage. So that is what is being referred to here.
Yeah, of course. And later on, we'll go through the Ashtanga Yoga, Bhakti Yoga. So Bhakti Yoga will be for the devotee. That is the highest stage.
That is the highest. So that's why actually today in that diagram I only showed these two steps. The Bhakti Yoga ladder has many more.
Right.
But the highest is Bhakti.
Yeah.
So, but in the context of what you said, probably there's this famous verse: "Akama sarva kamo va moksha kamo dharati ivena bhakti yogena." So, whatever Krishna says, whether you have desire, sakama, or you have no desire, material desire, akama, or you have all kinds of desire, sarva kamo va. He says still, tivrena bhakti yogena. If you perform devotional service, it will purify you. So this karma yoga that we're referring to is Nishkam karma yoga, the highest level of karma yoga. We are of course in Mishra karma yoga right now.
Yeah. Nice project. Thank you, project.
Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji.
So I mean, so for bhakti yoga, when we do all that, we don't really need that jnana, knowledge or any intelligence. You just simply accept everything and you get connected to Krishna. Because some people, they may not have a knowledge of anything, but they love Krishna, or they just simply hear Krishna or anything, and then they love Krishna and they are surrendering, and Krishna also reciprocates to them. So when you compare all this, so bhakti yoga is the best then. Whether you are knowledgeable or intelligent or not intelligent, in any situation, any uncivilized people, anybody who doesn't have intelligence, maybe they can, through hearing or something, they got attracted to Krishna, then they think that is the path I want to be in.
Right. See,
so it doesn't matter whether I have jnana yoga or whatever it is. So
see, basically, if a person gets attracted to Krishna consciousness, then Krishna gives all the intelligence that they need anyway. Whatever the Jnani is first trying to get some knowledge. And then when he gets knowledge, he says, oh, really? Okay, I should be doing everything to serve Krishna. Okay, so now I'll start becoming Bhakta. Whereas a Bhakta, if by the mercy of, a devotee or the Supreme Lord, if he just develops a liking for the process of devotional service, then gradually all this knowledge is revealed by the Supreme Lord to him anyway. You see, he is in a very secure position. Think about it this way, that let's say I'm going to use a very crude example. We were all in India 50 years ago or something like that, right? And our destination was to come to America. Now, the destination was, let us reach America. So somebody may have thought, okay, first I will study engineering in India or medicine or something, so that then I can go to America. So then you have to put in all the effort, go to college, acquire that degree in India, and then on the basis of that degree, you get entry into America. Others person who got to go to America and come to America, he says, I've already reached America. Now, if I want to do medicine or law or engineering, whatever, I can do it here, but I'm already here now. So whatever I want to do, I can do, but at least I'm secure in America, so I don't have to worry about how will I get to America. So same way, if the destination is America, now if we say if the destination is Bhakti Yoga, then you can try to get a passport into Bhakti Yoga by first acquiring Gyan, or if you're fortunate enough and you already have Bhakti Yoga, then Gyan will follow. So Krishna says in chapter 10, verse 10, see the Chaturshloki Bhagavad Gita, first verse of that 10:10.
Yesham satata yuktana purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam yanti.
Very nice. See? So please explain that, Sangha Prabhu, also.
The one who is devoted to me and worship me with love, he said, I will give that kind of intelligence where they can come to me.
There you go. See? I will give dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upyanti. Buddhi yoga, again he said, dadami to them, I will give what? Buddhi yoga. Dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upyanti te, by which they can come to me. So whatever knowledge is required, whatever they are lacking, Krishna says, oh, I will give them everything. Don't worry. If they are already dedicated to me, they have the passport. If they are already dedicated to me, then they are in a very secure position. Now, whatever else they require, I will keep supplying it from within.
Thank you, Prabhu. Very nice.
You're welcome, Aditi.
Thanks again. Yeah, very nice class. Learning a lot.
You're very welcome, Aditi. Thank you. Other questions, comments, or anything? Oh, by the way, in that chapter 10 text, after text 10, text 11 is Tesham evanu kampartam aham agyana jamtama nashyami atma bhavasto gyan dipena bhashata. That whatever ignorance there is in their heart, nashyami atma bhavasto, I will just clear it out of their heart, gyan dipena bhashata, with the lamp of knowledge. I will give them the knowledge, Krishna says. Whatever they lack in terms of knowledge, I will give it to them, myself only, because they're situated in bhakti.
Okay, great, thanks.
Welcome. Other questions or thoughts, comments?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, Salga Srila Prabhupada.
Krishna Mataji, Dhanam Pranam, Jai Prabhupada.
Yes, Prabhuji. I just, no questions, but I just wanted to just share my small realization. Like the way how you explained easily to get the distinction about Karma Yoga and Buddhi Yoga, just a simple takeaway. Like how in 3.3, 3.4, so you cannot escape, abstain from the work, but instead you do the work, but for the satisfaction of Krishna. So that is the Karma Yoga. Otherwise, you cannot escape. It's not like how Arjuna said, okay, I don't want to fight. Like, do I just go to the forest now? No, it's not like, do it, but do it for the pleasure of the God. So, I mean, I know it's easy to tell, but if we can remind ourselves every time, whatever work we are doing, then you feel more satisfied. Rather than you're not doing for yourself, or you're not doing to please others. I think easy to tell, but I just a thought that came to me that will help us to improve when we are doing, or when you face a situation, or when you face a difficulty. Okay, we are doing not to satisfy me because it's my duty. Why? Because Krishna will be happy. So just a small thought I just felt like sharing, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much, Mataji. That is actually a wonderful thought, and that is exactly right. One second, Mataji. I'm just trying to give the control back to Muktasanga Prabhu.
That's fine, Prabhu. No problem. I was just trying to highlight Saujanya Mataji when she was asking questions. So,
oh, how do I give the control back?
You make me host. Right click and then make me host.
I was looking for the host button here. Sorry.
No, you go to the participants window and then right click on me and then make me host.
Oh, participants window. Okay.
You see my name, so right click on that or just go arrow mark, click on more.
Got it. Okay. Make host. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Sorry.
Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Oh, you're welcome, Mataji. Sorry, Saujanya Mataji. So, no, that,
No problem.
yeah, the point that you made is absolutely, absolutely on target. And sorry, I'm forgetting one of the things that you said. I got distracted. Say that again, Madhuri, the second part.
Yeah. So the point is not to escape from the work or abstain from the work. Instead, do it, and then you also realize yourself why you're doing. It's not for your sense gratification, but to please Krishna. But I was just saying, it's very easy to tell, but if we keep constantly reminding ourselves, then you feel satisfied. You don't get agitated whenever any kind of situation comes, or every day is different. So, so I think that's what Krishna, what I felt, that karma yoga, you have to do your karma, your action, but for whom? Then that will make you feel at ease of what take away from this class. I just wanted to share the thought, Prabhuji. That's it.
That's a very important thought. Thank you for bringing it up, Madhuri. It's the kind of thing I actually wanted to emphasize too, that our circumstances that we find ourselves in on a daily basis are not under our control. Circumstances are thrust upon us. We are put into circumstances. We do not control our circumstances. We would love to control our circumstances, but we don't. We are under the influence of the spiritual nature. But how we react to those circumstances is under our control. And that is what takes training. And so this whole process of being trained in the art of karma yoga, in the art of devotional service, that is very important, because then every time we will react to our circumstances in a devotional manner. Even though a situation may be challenging, we will say, this is the challenge that Krishna has put in front of me. I have to still respond in a devotional manner. I must still perform this duty with full enthusiasm because Krishna wants me to do it. And see, how much more challenging can our situation be compared to Arjun's? Arjun's situation was probably the most challenging situation you can ever imagine. And Krishna is saying, I'm giving this advice under that circumstance, under those circumstances, so that each one of us will always find ourselves in an easier situation compared to what Arjun was finding himself. And if he could perform devotional service under such an extreme circumstance, why can't we perform devotional service? Why can't we have that attitude? So that is the power. You said the right thing, Madhuri. That is the power of reminding ourselves. That's why the Sangha is very important, because what do you talk when you are with devotees? This is what we talk, and we remind ourselves over and over again. It takes reinforcement, because if you don't stay close to it, in 2 days, we will get completely distracted from it. Not even 2 days.
2 minutes, Prabhuji. It comes here, it comes out from here.
Absolutely right.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Okay. Narasimhan Prabhu, Tyaguji, any questions, comments, anything?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Krishna is in, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for the class. And just one point you mentioned about gradually advancing in spiritual life, and that way one can become detached from a material life. Then I really like that point, Prabhuji, because like it is explained how one should practice Bhakti Yoga daily, and then slowly and gradually one should increase one's time and remembering the Lord. That's all. Thank you.
Exactly, bro. Because it's the kind of thing that has to come from within, and gradual is better. And that's what Krishna is telling Arjun also. Don't think you can just walk away from the battlefield and think you are 100% renounced, because it doesn't happen like that. So gradual pace, but steady.
Yes.
And Krishna will definitely bless us with success as long as we are steady. Because Nishta is very important, faith. And then Utsaha, enthusiasm. Nectar of Instruction kind of tells us these key points, but staying in the association of devotees keeps the enthusiasm going and keeps the focus. But you're absolutely right, Prabhu. Gradual pace is the answer, because then you'll do it happily and lovingly. It's not forced. Thank you for bringing that up, Marcin, Prabhu. It's an important point.
Yeah, I think we are good, Prabhu.
Okay, Prabhu.
Yeah. Nice discussions coming.
It's nice to hear everybody's thoughts and comments, because then you can understand how somebody's processing it and what is going on in their mind. So
yeah, because we are all, most of us are karma yogis, so
yeah.
we'll have a lot of questions.
Yeah. No, and this chapter and chapter 5, they're very nice from that perspective.
Yes. Thank you, Prabhu.
You're welcome, Prabhu. Thank you all so much.
Before I let everyone go, as usual,
Yes.
So, as everyone knows that Corona is relaxed now. Most of the states, they are relaxing the social distancing and also mask remove. So from tomorrow onwards, June 11th. Okay, even our temple, Philly temple, is allowing more capacity. 50% capacity. Initially they were restricted, but now they're allowing. And so tomorrow is New York Rath Yatra, if anybody is interested to go. Normally we make 2 buses or big vehicles and go, like at least 30-40 people we go together every year, but since last year we are not. But tomorrow they restarted this Rath Yatra, so tomorrow is New York Rath Yatra. If anybody is interested, I have the flyer I can send. Yeah, it's the same time. It starts at 11 and the parade starts at, I think, 12 o'clock. Okay, so this Sunday is a special Paugonda Pravachan, fortnight session, Paugonda Pravachan, and it will be given by Rasika Mataji. She is just 11 years old and she's from Canada.
Wow.
She's a very good singer. She sings in temples. She's a very good singer and also a preacher. Okay, and yeah, so she'll be talking about Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur and Srila Gadadhar Pandit.
Very nice.
This is on Sunday morning, 10 a.m. EST, Eastern Standard Time, with the same in the same Zoom credentials as this is. So please attend. So it will be an inspiration for other kids also. Encourage them. And Sunday evening, 8 o'clock is Adi Gadadhar Prabhu's weekly program, Chaitanya Bhagavad. So please attend that. That's a different credentials. I'll send that. So that's all I have, Prabhu. So thank you very much. And
okay, Prabhuji,
for joining this session.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnavendran ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna Prabhu ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai. Jai Sri Prabhu.
Hare
Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna ji. Thank you ji.
Hare Krishna. Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.